Rafael.
Welcome everyone. Before we start the show, I would like to apologize because we are kind of broke and we didn't have the money to pay for the studio, the cameras, or the microphones. So we're here now. We're doing the show here. But I hope you like it and things will get better thanks to our new sponsors, Samsung, IKEA, and the government of the People's Republic of North Korea. My name is Rafael. I am this week's guest, and this is Tedn't Talk. Today's episode is the magic of teamwork. Okay, well, before we start, I would like to ask you a question. Do you prefer working alone or as a team? I would like you to raise your hand if you prefer working as a team. Okay, well, that's interesting. Well, you see, nowadays it's usual for people to underestimate the importance of teamwork. It may be because they are too awkward to socialize, or maybe because they are just egocentric. But the reality is that with enough organization, teamwork is able to accomplish things that not even the most capable people in your planet could do on their own. And that's what I want to show you now. An example of what teamwork is really capable of in the most interesting and funniest way possible. A history lesson. You don't need to be so excited. Okay. The Inca Empire. The Inca Empire was the biggest empire in the Americas before the Spanish conquest. It expanded across more than 2 million square kilometers and it ruled over 10 million people. But what is really interesting about this empire and one of the things that I find more amazing is not how big it was, but how goods were transported across its rough and immense terrain. Because to put this into perspective, the Incan civilization never discovered the wheel, and they don't have any animal that they could use as a mean of transportation. So everything had to be transported on foot. So how could it be that this civilization could reach speeds of that goods across the empires could be moved at speeds that would reach even 1,000 kilometers per day only by foot? Do you like anyone would like to guess? No? Maybe you, the bold one?
The what?
The bold one.
The
Would you like to guess?
He's not bold.
The bold one. Ready?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes.
How can it be that this civilization was able to move goods across its empire at speeds that could reach 1,000 kilometers per day just using their foot? Would you like to guess what the answer is?
What's that?
Wanna why?
No? Well, you see,
Maybe they are aliens.
no. The answer, you see, is teamwork.
I think they were aliens.
The Chaskis were runners. Its task was to run from one point to another, carrying mail, messages, and objects. They were the fastest and the most strong men in the empire. But they didn't run alone. They ran as a team, or even better, like a chain. Because you see, a person can't run the whole day because you have to eat, you have to sleep, and you have to rest. So, not even the fastest human in our planet could run more than 100 kilometers one day. But the Chaskis didn't run long distances. They only run between stations. The tambos were rest stations. They were full with supplies, and travelers used them to rest and sleep. A chasqui would only run between one station and another, and when he reached the other station, he would then give the object that he's carrying to another chasqui that will run from that station to the next one, and then the process will be repeated until the object reaches final destination. That meant that objects could be carried across the empire at constant speed during the whole day. That is something that not even today exists, because truckers need to sleep and need to eat. And that's really amazing if you think about it. For example, the Chasquis were able to bring a fresh fish from the ocean all the way to the emperor's palace in the middle of the Andes Mountains every morning in just a couple of hours. Or for example, they were capable of moving objects between Quito, today's capital of Ecuador, and the second largest city in the empire, and Cusco, the capital of the empire located in southern Peru, two cities that are separated by almost the same distance that separates Vancouver from Chicago in only 3 days. And that's the magic of teamwork. They were capable of doing something that is humanly impossible only by working together doing a simple task. And that's really amazing if you tell me about it. So yeah, that is the power of teamwork. Before we finish, I would like to say thanks again to our sponsors, Samsung, IKEA, and the Republic of North Korea. My name was Rafael, and this was Tedn't Talk. See you next week.
Okay. Questions?
Can we still found the Inca civilization?
What?
Can we still found the
Found.
Inca civilization?
Can we still found them?
Find.
Find.
Can we still find?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that in Peru that are ethnically Inca, in the way that
Only
they
in Peru?
in Peru, yeah,
Just in Peru?
and mostly in Peru,
Oh yeah, okay.
mostly in Peru, most of them,
What's
and
the-
they
okay.
and they still use the Quechua language. That was the language that Peruvian used, that the Incas use it, and they
Yeah.
do representations. Also, there's a lot of cities, modern cities, that are built over the Incas construction. So, for example, if you go to the city of Cusco, most of the Spanish buildings are built over Incan stone.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cultural representation, festivals. For example, like I found it here. This is an advertisement of a mail company in Peru, the Chasqui. And there's also like a chain of 7-Eleven that is in Peru that is called the Tambo, like the rest stations. And it's very interesting to me.
So Chasqui is the runner and the Tambo is the station.
Yeah.
Okay. And how is the Republic of North Korea involved?
It's my sponsor.
Oh.
It's the sponsor of the show.
Okay.
They're just sponsors. They pay me for my job.
Okay.
Why? Why?
Why the Republic of
Why-
North Korea?
Yeah.
I don't know. They pay well.
You're not talking about the missiles or something.
They pay well. It's just a sponsor.
Okay. Okay. You forgot to thank the First Nations of Canada for being on their lands. Okay. Anybody else? Questions?
And about you prefer work a team or alone with yourself?
Yeah, good question. Can you make it grammatically correct?
So about you, do you prefer work alone or with a team?
I prefer. It depends of the team. I would say it depends of the team.
It depends on.
If I cover a team where I can rely on them, obviously I prefer working as a team.
Okay.
I would say that's the answer.